And welcome to this new tutorial of the series Data Mining Concepts and Techniques. Today we will see the chapter Cluster Analysis. In that we will see very important part, that is basic concepts of cluster analysis and methods for cluster analysis. Also we will see what is cluster analysis and the applications of cluster analysis and what are the different types of approaches for the cluster analysis. So let's get started. So what is cluster analysis basically? A cluster means a collection of data objects. Okay, so here two words are very important, that is the collection and the data objects. So the collection of data objects is called as a cluster. Then it is similar to one or another within the same group, and it is dissimilar to the objects in other groups. So if we consider the same group, it is similar, and if we consider the other groups, then that object, then it is dissimilar. Then the what is cluster analysis? Finding similarities between data according to the characteristic found in the data and grouping similar data objects into clusters. So the cluster analysis is the process basically. It is not the word only, it is the process. Cluster analysis as a clustering or data segmentation. So cluster analysis is the finding the similarities between the data. Okay. So how to find that similarities? According to characteristic found in the data and grouping. Okay. And it is similar data objects into clusters. So grouping similar data objects into a cluster is the process for cluster analysis. Then unsupervised learning. So when unsupervised learning comes into the picture, then the cluster analysis is the method for unsupervised learning, because there is no predefined classes, that is learning by observation is done, okay, versus learning by example. So in supervised learning, there are predefined classes, and according to that predefined classes, the supervised learning will be done. But in unsupervised learning, there is no predefined class. Okay, so how to do the prediction is very important. The typical applications for cluster analysis is as a standalone tool, okay, to get insight into data distribution and as a pre-processing step for other algorithms. So basically these applications are divided into standalone tools and pre-processing step. So the next is clustering for data understanding and applications. So the applications of clustering or the cluster analysis are biology, information retrieval, land use, marketing, city planning, earthquake studies, climate, and economic science. So if you consider the biology, then the cluster analysis applications are the taxonomy of living things such as kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Okay, if we consider information retrieval as a clustering application, then it has a document clustering as a application. Okay, then if you consider land use sector, then identification of areas of similar land using earth observation database. So this is the application. If you consider marketing sector, then help marketers discover distinct groups in their customer bases and then use this knowledge to develop targeted marketing programs. So this is the application for marketing, okay, to discover the distinct groups. If you consider city planning as a sector, then identifying groups of houses according to their house type, value, and geographical location is the application of clustering, okay, or the cluster analysis in city planning. Okay, if you consider the earthquake studies as the sector, then the application is observed earthquake epicenters should be clustered along continuous faults. So earthquake center finding is one of the clustered analysis application. Then if you consider the climate as a sector, then understanding earth climate, find patterns of atmospheric and ocean, that is the applications of the cluster analysis. If we consider the economic science as a sector, then market research is the clustering application here. So these are some of the applications for the clustering or the clustering analysis. Okay, then clustering as a pre-processing tool or utility. If you consider this point as a pre-processing tool or the clustering as a pre-processing tool, then the summarization, compression, finding k nearest neighbors and outlier detection. These are some of the pre-processing tools. And if you consider summarization as a tool, then pre-processing for regression, PCA, classification and association analysis is the summarization done in clustering as a pre-processing tool. Then if you consider the compression as a pre-processing tool, then image processing or the vector quantization, that is the compression technique or tool used in clustering. Then finding k nearest neighbor as a pre-processing tool or utility, in that the localizing search to one or small number of clusters is one of the clustering technique or utility using pre-processing. Then outlier detection, the outliers are often viewed as those far away from any cluster. So this is the outlier detection as a pre-processing tool utility in the clustering. Then if you consider the quality, what is good clustering? So how we can say that the clustering is good or not? A good clustering method will produce high quality clusters, that is high intra-class similarity, that is cohesive within clusters, and low inter-class similarity, that is distinctive between clusters. So when the clustering is good, when it has these two characteristics, that is high intra-class similarity and low inter-class similarity. Then the quality of clustering method depends on the similarity measure used by the method and its implementation and its ability to discover some or all of the hidden patterns. So when the quality of the clustering method consider, then it depends on the hidden pattern or finding the hidden pattern and discovering the hidden patterns. Then the measure the quality of clustering. How to measure the quality of clustering? So there are two metrics, similarity and dissimilarity metrics. Okay, similarity is expressed in terms of distance function, typically a metric. Okay, so the definition of distance functions are usually rather different for interval scale, Boolean, categorical, ordinal ratio, and vector variables. So weights should be associated with different variables based on the applications and data semantics. So on the basis of dissimilarity metric or the similarity metric, the quality of clustering should be measured. So quality of clustering means there is usually a separate quality functions that measure the goodness of a cluster. So quality function is very important to measure the quality of clustering. It is hard to define similar enough or good enough. Okay, how we can say the quality of clustering is good? So it is hard to define, but the answer is typically highly subjective. The considerations for cluster analysis. So there are four basic considerations when for the cluster analysis, that is first is partitioning criteria, second is separation of clusters, third is similarity measure, and fourth is clustering space. So there are partitioning criteria such as single level versus hierarchical partitioning. Okay, in the separation of cluster there are exclusive versus non-exclusive. Exclusive means for example one customer belongs to only one region, and non-exclusive means for example one document may belong to more than one class. So if it belongs to only one region, then it is called as exclusive, and if it is belongs to more than one class, then it is called as a non-exclusive. Then in similarity measure, the distance based versus connectivity based measure is there. And if we consider the clustering space, then full space versus subspace, this is the consideration. Full space means often when low dimensional, okay, and subspace means often in high dimensional clustering. So the next point is requirements and challenges in cluster analysis. So what are the requirements and challenges? So the scalability and ability to deal with different type of attributes and constraint based clustering is the requirements. Okay, and the challenges are high dimensionality, incremental clustering, ability to deal with noisy data, and discovery of clusters with arbitrary shape. These are some of the requirements and challenges. If we consider the scalability, the clustering of all data instead of only on samples. This is the scalability if we consider all data for the clustering. Then so different type of attributes we can deal with, that is numerical attributes, binary attributes, categorical, ordinal, linked, mixture of these are the ability to deal with different types of attributes. Then if we consider the constraint based clustering, then user may give input on constraints and use domain knowledge to determine input parameters. Then what are the major clustering approaches? Okay, so basically what are the different approaches or applications or major applications of clustering? The approaches are partitioning approach. Okay, first is partitioning approach, second is hierarchical approach, third is density based approach, and fourth is grid based approach. Okay, if we consider the partitioning approach, then what is the partitioning approach? It constructs various partitions and then evaluate them by some criteria. For example, minimizing the sum of square error. Then typical methods for partitioning approach are k-means, k-medoids, and Clarence are typical methods for partitioning approach. Then the second approach is hierarchical approach. What is hierarchical approach? It creates a hierarchical decomposition of the set of data using some criteria. So hierarchical decomposition is very important in hierarchical approach. Then what are the typical methods for the hierarchical approach are Dyna, Agnes, Birch, and Chameleon. So these are some of the hierarchical approach methods. Then if we consider the third approach, that is density based approach, then it is based on connectivity and density function. Okay, so what are the methods for density based approach? The DBSACN and optics and DenQ are the density based approach methods. Then grid based approach, which is based on a multiple level granularity structure. Then there are fifth approach, that is model based approach. Okay, and the sixth is frequent pattern based approach in major clustering approaches. The seventh is user guided or constraint based approach, and eighth is link based approach. So these are some of the approaches. Okay, not going into the detail of this, I will tell you just the overview. In the model base, a model is hypothesized for each of the clusters and tries to find the best fit of that model to each other. Okay, the methods for model base is EM, SOM, okay, COB, web. Then the frequent pattern approach is the frequent pattern based approach is based on the analysis of frequent patterns. So what are the frequent patterns? We have seen in earlier topics or earlier sessions of data mining. Okay, so typical methods for frequent pattern base is P cluster, and user guided or constraint based approach is the second last approach, and the clustering by considering user specified or application specific constraints is the user guided approach. Then the typical methods for user guided approach is COD and constraint clustering. And the last approach in major clustering approaches are link based clustering. That is, the objects are often linked together in various ways. Okay, the linking is there in the objects in clustering. Then the massive link can be used to cluster objects. That is, what are the links? Massive links used in the this type of clustering is SIMRank and LinkClus. So these are some of the major clustering approaches. So this is all about the clustering and clustering analysis and the types of clustering. Okay, the approaches, major approaches, and what are the applications of the clustering we have seen. So like, comment, and share this video to your friends. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for latest updates. Keep learning, keep watching. Thank you. Jai Hind.